Oh.
So welcome to Adelaide Hills Billies. So I'm Sheree Sullivan from Adelaide.
And I'm TJ from Chain of Ponds.
And we are delighted to spend the afternoon with you. And really our whole goal and mantra is to demystify cheese and wine one bottle at a time, to ask the questions that perhaps have been at the back of your mind, but you've been a little bit too scared.
Too afraid to ask.
Yeah, to ask. So that's what we're all about. So we really love the good stuff, but we also we want to keep it real. So we've got a list of questions here that we're going to ask of each other, but we're also really open. If you guys have any questions, then you feel free to ask those of us.
Type them in the comments and we'll try to answer them as best as we can.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to start with, how do you actually match cheese and wine? So what is it that you're looking for from a wine perspective, or even from a food perspective, when we're matching cheese and wine? So go.
Okay, I go in the wine snob kind of element of it, and I say that there's a complementary and a congruent way.
Okay.
So complementary pairing is a like different taste. So think lime and coconut. And then you've got congruent, which is like. So I say beef and mushrooms.
Okay, so I'm going to interpret that. And
Demystify
it. So when I am looking in particular to match cheese and wine, if one of the cheeses is really fresh and acidic, I'm looking for a fresh and acidic wine to match with it.
So you've got a chef, your goat's cheese, and I'd pair that with a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Which probably leads us into the way that is a regional pairing in France.
Yeah. But anyway, that is like. And then the difference would be blue cheese is quite strong and quite a big flavour, and quite salty, but I often serve that with honeycomb or fortified wine.
Fortified wine, so you got the sweet.
Yeah, sweet salty. Yep. So it's opposite. So opposite is complementary.
Complementary, and like is?
Congruent.
Yes.
I still get confused after all this time. But you said regional pairing.
Yes.
Do you want to tell me about regional pairing?
Okay, so in France, we always say that the wine has existed for hundreds of years. And then all of a sudden, cheesemakers came along and matched the cheese to these wines.
Yeah, so I had a bit of one of those moments when I was researching for a dinner that I was hosting, which featured French wine and French cheese. And I knew that wine was made in regions of France. So here, we're from the Adelaide Hills, so we'd go, in Lobethal, I know they grow Shiraz and I know they grow Sauvignon Blanc, and they grow so many wines in Lobethal. But if we're in France, we would actually say, I'm having a Lobethal. And
you can only have that one varietal in that region.
Yeah, so the French don't call it the grape variety, they call it the region it's grown in. And so if you imagine you've got this map of France and say at the top is where all the champagne's made, and at the bottom is where all the red's made. And so what happened is the cheesemakers had to make a cheese that was going to match that wine. So cheese is also of the region. So I have got a little bit of show and tell here. So
something we prepared
earlier. So I'm actually going to bring it quite close. Now this is a map of France, and at the top, this is Champagne, and this is where Brie is made, because that was considered an awesome match, Brie and Champagne. And then in the middle, you see this little goat cheese. Goat cheese is made there, and that's where the white wines,
Sauvignon Blanc,
Chablis, sort of around there. So whites are there. At the bottom, you see all these blues, and this is the Cab Sauves and the...
So that's Bordeaux.
Yes.
So we've got the Cabernet Sauvignon, and then we've got Merlot. So actually that's a pairing we're doing here as well. And then down we've got Shiraz.
Yeah, and then across the side, we've got some wash rinds on both sides, interestingly. And at the top with Rieslings, and think of an aged Riesling with a wash rind, it's amazing. And then the firmer cheeses down the side, we've got also with some reds. So to me, I had one of those moments of, wow, I get this now.
Yep.
So
I think everyone wants to eat cheese and drink wine right now.
So the regional pairing for us is that in the Adelaide Hills, we make a lot of Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep.
We make a lot of Chev. It's just this ultimate regional pairing. And we've got a few here. So whether we get around to talking about them, I'm not sure. But at least we just wanted to explain that to you. So I'm gonna go to my next question, which is, in your opinion, when you were doing a cheese and wine tasting, do you drink the wine and eat the cheese, or eat the cheese and drink the wine? What's the order?
I think the audience should also submit their comments with this one, because it is a chicken or the egg. I usually drink the wine, and I use the word lubricate, but drink the wine, then eat the cheese, and then drink the wine again.
Yeah. And that's fair. And TJ has taught me something, and I'm so unco. But tell me, I want a visual display. Tell me how professionals drink wine.
Oh,
so it's the swirl.
This is live as well.
Yeah, it is live.
So we swirl it, and I use a tabletop because I just like the security rather than wherever this goes.
Now we're going to unpack swirling in a minute. Show me the next thing.
Okay, you sniff.
So you sniff, but then what's the final thing?
You try and drink.
But I remember. Oh, I knew you'd do that. But I remember
swirl your mouth.
When you sniff. You have to sniff with your mouth open.
And then how did you do it with your cheese? Well, you do it reverse.
Well, I just think as I spilled my wine when I
I told you table for that reason.
Winnie says wine and cheese, true. But anyway, something that TJ said is you sniff, right?
Yeah.
And I want to go like this. But she said professionally.
I don't know how professional it is.
Your mouth's meant to be open like this. And I can't do it. I feel a bit uncoy. But anyway, so we're swirling. Tell me what we're doing when we swirl.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to sound a bit snobby. You're releasing the volatile compounds.
Volatile compounds.
I have no chemistry knowledge of it.
Unpack volatile compounds.
Think of when you've got a mint and you slap it and it kind of breaks up all the like lime.
You're talking about a herb.
Yeah.
And if you squash it, then you can smell it.
And it's got more of that pungent smell.
Okay. So that's what we're doing.
So yeah, you're adding oxygen to it.
Yeah.
It's opening up the wine. So that's where you hear people go, oh, just let the wine breathe. And there's a fun fact that from your taste, 80% of it comes from your nose. So that's why when your nose is blocked, you're not able to taste as well.
So the other thing is we can swell, and sometimes you hear people say, look at the legs on that. I'm like, where are the legs?
I don't know if you can see it, but it's dropping down. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, see the lines.
Line.
They're the legs.
Victoria's Secret's right there.
What are they? What are the legs?
So legs indicate the viscosity, which is...
Viscosity?
Hey, you go on to the cheese chemistry
means?
talk. So that's all about the sugar content and the higher the alcohol.
So thicker.
So with the white wine, you're going to have less legs.
So the thicker the wine,
the
more viscous it is,
the
more alcohol it has. So when you swirl...
You've got chemistry by Sheree right now.
And you watch the legs go down. If the legs are from here, it's quite high in alcohol.
If it's taking slow, it's dropping.
Really slow drop.
It's like kind of honey in a way.
Yeah, look at that. And if it's low or a really quick drop, you just know it's quite low in alcohol.
Yeah.
So there's a way...
Test it with your Sauvignon Blanc tonight.
Yeah, there's a way to self-regulate.
Self-regulate.
Yeah. So we've worked out, we think wine then cheese. But it doesn't matter if you do it the other way around. There's no rules.
What do you usually do?
I don't even think about it.
Together?
Yeah, if I'm actually having to specifically match cheese and wine because I've been asked, I probably do go wine first. And interestingly, when I've learnt to match over the years, sometimes I've done it and I've got, yeah, that really works. And I think I've got the right match. And then I try another cheese just to be sure.
Beautiful adjective for this, everyone at home.
And then I realise I actually had the right match, because what happens if it doesn't work? I call it spew. You just get a spewy flavour.
And that's not what you want.
No, if cheese and wine is matching, it's harmony. If it doesn't, it's spewy, for want of a better word. But we're all here to demystify. So now, next question that I've got. How long do you eat wine or cheese when it's open?
Okay, so eat wine?
Yeah.
Eat wine, drink wine.
We drink wine.
Okay, so I'd say with a wine, white, go 5 to 7 days and straight to the fridge. And that's the same as rosé. You treat it exactly like the white. With reds, I'd say store in a dark, cool climate where the temperature doesn't fluctuate. And then you've probably got 3 to 5.
3 to 5 days for red in a dark space. 5 to 7 for white if it's refrigerated.
And sparkling, I go 1 to 3 because you lose the bubbling.
Yeah.
But again, if you last that long,
I'll say,
self-discipline.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be many people I know who last quite that long. So, in terms of cheese, how long does it last? If it's a fresh cheese, now my rule around fresh cheese.
So what's fresh cheeses for those at home?
Fresh cheese is no mould and no maturation on the cheese.
So feta, is that a good example?
Chev, goat curd.
Yep.
Treat it like yogurt.
Okay.
So airtight container in the fridge, but also I'd say eat it within a week.
Yep. Okay.
Matured or molded cheese means, it's got mold on it or it's got maturity like a cheddar, moldy inside, yeah. Then you've probably got 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. All that's going to happen is the cheese will deteriorate as opposed to going off, whereas fresh cheese can actually go off.
Have you got any fun facts about fresh cheese and storage?
About putting it in oil.
Yes.
So when you open a fresh cheese like a chèvre or a feta, if you can't eat it in time, put it in a jar, completely cover it in olive or vegetable oil or a blend, and that's marinated cheese, and you'll get like 6 months shelf life in the fridge on that one. So that is a really good one. So now, which leads me to, as we've opened something, as we've opened cheese and wine, it oxidizes. So talk to me about what oxidization means in wine.
I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've left a wine, you've completely forgotten it, it's been sitting on the kitchen counter, and then you've tried it and it tastes like vinegar. Yeah. And that's all I can explain that oxidization is. But for cheese, is there a similar thing?
So I guess I never really understood oxidization. And oxidization is oxygen, the very air we need to breathe, making things go off. So when fruit goes rotten, it's oxidized. It's oxidizing. So for cheese, the funny thing is it needs mold. If the cheese needs mold, it needs oxygen to get it. So our brie had got oxygen all around the outside. That's why it grew the white mold. The blue, we got oxygen all in the middle, deliberately trying to do that. And that's how we got it there. But eventually it will go to a point where it deteriorates. Yep. And, I was thinking, why do the, beauty industry keep trying to sell us, antioxidants? And then I thought,
wine, which are apparently in wine.
It's there. And it's because we're oxidizing.
We're going rotten,
We're going rotten. Like, that's pretty much that.
So wait, if antioxidants in wine and there's butterfat in
we think this is the ultimate beauty product because you do have antioxidants in that. And this is really high in butterfat, which is good for your hair and your skin.
This is a natural beauty regime right here?
Yeah, it is.
Justification in any
So, we're actually nearing time.
Okay.
So...
Should I ask them why is that blue?
If you can definitely ask why that's blue. That's blue.
Is that a question most people want to know is why is blue cheese blue?
Blue cheese is blue and brie is white because that's the mould that we put in. Penicillin candidum, penicillin roqueforti. They've both had
fun words for you all today.
Yeah, really, really long history in France. Yep. Without mould in either of these cheeses, it's feta. It's sort of a chalky, unbalanced, not very fun cheese to eat. And the mould on this brie acts like a banana, meaning that when a banana's young, it's chalky and acidic and unbalanced, and that's what this cheese is. And then it ripens and gets to the point where it's really luscious and creamy, and that just takes time. Beautiful. Blue cheese, blue cheese doesn't get soft like a brie, but it definitely has to get creamy. So there's all these words we use around that, but we specifically inoculate with molds.
And she was paying me out about the big words.
Inoculate means just put the cultures in or the mold in. And that's why we get this, because it's the way we've done it. So as we're finishing off, I thought, can you give me a really simple explanation on how you make wine?
Okay. I studied marketing and business, not winemaking, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say grapes have sugar. They add yeast in. Yeast eats the sugar and then converts the sugars into alcohol.
Okay. So I'm
Chemistry 101.
So I'm going to say in like complete layman's terms. Grape becomes juice. The grape juice has sugar. Yeast is added, and the yeast eats the sugar.
And then
alcohol is a result of that.
And what about in your layman's terms of cheese?
Terms of cheese is we take the moisture out of the milk. And there are cultures and other things in the background as well. Bacteria eating milk sugar, that's happening as well. But we're naturally preserving the milk by taking the moisture out. And I liken that to small goods. So meat, if we take out moisture, we end up with salamis or prosciuttos, and we've prolonged the life.
Kind of like dried fruits.
Like dried fruit. Yeah. So I often say cheese is dried milk. And I also say that cheese is just milk's attempt at immortality. So
that's a beautiful way to end it, I think.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. I hope you have learnt a little bit more. than what we've...
A little bit on cheese
A little bit on cheese and wine, and it'll make you sound even more educated the next time you're allowed to host a dinner party. But in the meantime, tell your friends, you know, do the whole Zoom and tell everyone...
Have your cheese and wine dinner parties over Zoom.
Yeah, tell everyone what you've learned. So we haven't really eaten a lot of this, but to be honest, we completely picked out before.
We had a side plate.
We had a side plate before we got here. So enjoy your day, enjoy your autumn, and here's to demystifying cheese and wine
one bottle at a time.
At a time.
Cheese!
Cheese!
Cheese!